Alzheimer's. It's one of those diseases we don't think much about until it hits home.
I never remember my grandma ever once saying my name, Haley.
My brother had to move into their home and start living with them. He had to start cooking for them.
We noticed she's putting on 2 nitro patches, and the heat was on in the summer, and just starting to get forgetful where it wasn't safe for her at home anymore.
By the time we got up to the chapel, we sat down, and she could recite the Lord's Prayer word for word. But yet she couldn't remember that her husband had died 15 years ago, and she already went through the grieving process.
She started declining. I had been in denial up until that time.
We used to play Play-Doh with each other, and he used to come down to the farm for every single holiday. And because of Alzheimer's, he can't do a lot of those things anymore.
I remember as a young child that I would follow my mom around, and I would shadow her, and I would be behind her, and she would lead me. And when I became a young adult, my mom and I would walk shoulder to shoulder, and we would shop and go places, and we would be together. And now when we walk, my mom walks way behind me. If I stop, she stops. If I slow, she slows. And we don't walk together anymore.
Consider the facts. Alzheimer's disease is now the 6th leading cause of death in the United States, afflicting more than 5 million Americans of all ages. And of the top 10 causes of death in America, Alzheimer's is the only one without a way to prevent, cure, or even slow its progression. During the last decade, deaths from Alzheimer's disease rose 68%. while deaths from the other top causes were decreasing 3 to 42% over the same period. Currently, the hard, cold fact is there are no survivors of Alzheimer's disease.
We don't have survivors. That just hit me right between the heart. And I thought, this is not right.
If you look at cancer and you look at HIV and you look at heart disease, their survival rate is growing. And that is what I want for Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's right now is terminal.
Every 68 seconds, someone in America develops Alzheimer's. More than half of all Americans now know someone with the disease. To know Alzheimer's is to fear it. But there is hope.
The biggest hope is a cure. Won't come in my mom's lifetime, may not come in mine. But there's hope that someday this disease will be gone.
My hope for Alzheimer's is that we do find a cure, a good, solid cure, treatment plans that really work, if not in my lifetime, in my granddaughter's lifetime.
Alzheimer's is heartbreaking. It steals everything: memories, independence, control. And it does so steadily, relentlessly, and inevitably. But the disease doesn't just take its toll on those directly afflicted with it. 80% of care provided at home is delivered by family caregivers, who often become victims of the disease themselves when they experience very high levels of emotional stress and depression as a result.
And I would be cleaning her house and doing things at her house, and then I would have to go home and clean my house and do all my things and work 40 hours a week with a smile on my face. And I remember sometimes I would just get in my car and just cry and cry.
I have suffered greatly. I know my mother has, but I can't speak for her, but I can speak for me, and I've suffered tremendously watching this disease. I don't ever want my children ever to have to do that.
What can be done to stop the relentless growth of this devastating disease? Can the future be reclaimed for tens of thousands of our relatives, friends, and neighbors? Is an end to Alzheimer's an achievable, realistic goal? The answer is a resounding yes. The Alzheimer's Association Greater Iowa chapter is working tirelessly to create a world without Alzheimer's.
The Alzheimer's Association really focuses on providing care and support for all who are affected. So that includes support groups, educational programming, information and referral, care consultation, safety services. We have a number of services that are all focused on helping people who are impacted by the disease today.
And it's taught us how to react to my father when he was alive, and it taught us how to not react to my father. That was probably the most important part, how not to react. So we did not startle him, that we did not scare him, and it helped us to know the right time to take him to an assisted care and a memory care facility that could help us take care of him.
As we all discussed and talked about what was going on with our loved one, I was able to see what the future looked like. I was also given tools, given names of doctors and people to help me deal with it. It was a great, great resource for me.
A concerning trend is people in just their 40s and 50s being diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Younger onset and early stage Alzheimer's disease has challenged the thinking and focus of the Alzheimer's Association, both from the research standpoint and the care planning approach. Earlier detection has made it possible to help patients and caregivers make better decisions for living with the disease.
Well, we know that Alzheimer's is not necessarily an aging person's disease anymore. We do know the longer you live, the greater are your chances of developing any type of dementia.
You know, I have the opportunity to bring up in a conversation that I do have early onset dementia, so we can start talking and have a dialogue about that. Because I think fear a lot of times comes from lack of knowledge.
The Alzheimer's Association Greater Iowa chapter also facilitates Trial Match, free clinical trials that can advance and accelerate groundbreaking research being done on the disease that anyone can participate in. Next to funding, lack of participants in clinical trials is the biggest impediment to the advancement of critical research.
The main reason it's important is because we won't really be able to find a cure or find adequate or effective treatments until we can get a lot more people participating in trials.
Alzheimer's research is offering genuine, tangible hope, and the Alzheimer's Association's vision of a world without the disease is an attainable goal. But we need everyone's help. Support the work of the Alzheimer's Association Greater Iowa chapter by learning more about the disease. Participate in a local walk to end Alzheimer's.
We have a lot of vendors with information and giveaways. We have music, we have food, we have raffles. It's just a fun family morning.
Definitely get involved with the walks. It's a way that you can raise money, and that money goes towards funding for research and the programs that come along with Alzheimer's Association. But it's a fun day. It's a fun day. You can go, you can get a family team together, friends together to form a team. You raise the money, you go, and you're surrounded by people who have been affected by this disease, people who just want to help in the fight, and you get to talking. You get to talking about the disease, and that's what needs to happen.
Nationally, the Alzheimer's Association is the largest nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's research. Although research has revealed a great deal about the nature of the disease, the causes remain largely unknown. It is the nation's largest underfunded public health threat. Find ways to become involved, including advocacy opportunities with the federal and state governments, and participating in grassroots public policy efforts. Show your support financially whenever possible.
It's critical that we get more people to speak up and let Congress and all of government know that the research for Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia is incredibly underfunded.
Obviously, without the funding, we can't provide those programs, and we can't provide, first of all, the research that the Alzheimer's Association does to help bring an end to the disease. But more on a local level, funding allows us to have those specialists at each office that have the background and the knowledge to help families as they have questions or concerns that come up when a family member is diagnosed.
We know in Iowa that there's 69,000 people that have Alzheimer's disease, and just about everybody's been touched in one way or another. And right now there's no cure for this disease, and part of our work at the Alzheimer's Association is to find a cure and to have a world without Alzheimer's. So it's important for each and every person in the state to be involved with that. as an organization of 20 people, we can't do that by ourselves. We need their help, we need their support, we need their participation. So that's why we really encourage people to join us in our mission.
By joining forces to fight this devastating disease, you will be uniting in a movement to reclaim the future for millions.
The end.
The end.
The end of Alzheimer's
starts with me.
The end of Alzheimer's.
The end of Alzheimer's.
The end of Alzheimer's starts with me.
Starts with me.
The end of Alzheimer's.
The end of Alzheimer's starts with me.
Starts with me.
Starts with me.
The end.
The end. The end of Alzheimer's.
The end of Alzheimer's starts with me.
Starts with me.
The end of Alzheimer's
starts with me.
The end of Alzheimer's starts with me.
The end of Alzheimer's starts with you.